Good morning, guys. What's up? So ever since I became an adult, I've realized that it's kind of a pastime for us to say, oh, I don't have time. There's not enough hours in the day. Like we are all just so freaking busy. There's so much to do that it doesn't feel like we have enough hours in the day to get stuff done. And I won't say that that's not sometimes true. Sometimes you are legit so busy that it's just not getting done. But I want to challenge the idea that we're actually strapped for time because that's not always true. I don't know about you guys, but like there are some days where I'm really productive and I'm able to get so much done in like an hour. And then other days I look at my laptop, glance up, and it's already been an hour. Like I haven't done anything. So it's more about mindset and motivation and time management than anything else. And this is actually a phenomenon called Parkinson's Law. And for the past few years, I've been hacking this law to be more productive in my own business. So Parkinson's Law is the idea that work will expand or shrink to fit the amount of time that you have to do it. So for example, if you pull a really complicated report every week and you give yourself 2 hours to run that report, you'll run that report in 2 hours. If you give yourself 4 hours to run that report, you're still going to run it in 4 hours. So what's happening is that we are filling that time inefficiently. Now, the really cool thing about Parkinson's Law is that you can actually use it to be more productive. So the first thing that I do is track everything that I do. I have a software called Timular, and I track different buckets of tasks. So for me, that's email, meetings, freelance writing, pitching, whatever. The important tasks that I tend to do most often every day, I track those. And over time, I can see what my average is, like how many hours a day do I spend writing? How many hours a day on average am I in meetings? And it's really important to track how we're spending our time because it gives you that sense of awareness. For example, I did not realize how much time I spent on email. This was about a year ago and I was new at running my business. I had a lot of emails, as I'm sure all of you guys do. And I was like, oh, I'll just take my sweet time on all these emails. And I realized I was wasting hours a week where I could have spent more time working or pitching or whatever. It was just wasted time. And when you have that awareness of how you've been spending your time, it's easier to optimize it because you realize how inefficient you've actually been. But you don't know that until you've tracked your stuff. The second hack I do is setting a timer. So Parkinson's Law says that if you give yourself a set time limit on something, you will finish it in that time limit, as long as it's realistic, of course. So if I know on average I write for 2 hours a day, if I have 4 client pieces to get out in those 2 hours, that means I need to spend 30 minutes per piece. So what I do is I set a timer and pressure myself to get that done in that 30 minutes. Does that always happen? Maybe, maybe not, if the project is really complicated. But the thing is, having that added pressure of time makes me more efficient. It makes me less likely to pick up my phone. It's less likely to scroll through social media or check the news or pet my cat or whatever. I eliminate the distractions because I feel that pressure. So if it's just like, pedal to the metal, I got to get stuff done today, I'll use something called the Pomodoro Method. And that's the idea. It's kind of similar to Parkinson's Law in that it constricts you to batches of time where you work really focused. So it might be, I'm writing for 30 minutes. And then my Pomodoro timer will go off and I'll take a 5 to 10 minute break. I can check my phone. I can go take out the trash. I have built-in time for distractions to let my brain cool off. And then I'm actually able to do more deep, focused work as a result. And the last way to make Parkinson's Law work for you is I feel like this is common sense, but it's hard, especially if you're self-employed, and that's assigning a realistic workload. So you're not going to magically be able to run a really complex report that has to take 5 hours if you say, this will run in 1 hour. I mean, you have to be realistic. You have to be realistic. If you are setting pie in the sky goals for everything and then you're making yourself feel bad about not hitting your goals, it's actually going to demotivate you. So we always want to be reasonable with our goals. So if you are consistently not hitting the time limits that you've imposed on yourself, it's okay to change them. Stuff happens. Maybe your work is more complicated. Maybe you just need more time, and that's okay. So if you have been feeling pressured for time lately, you are not alone. I think we all feel this way, especially right now when people are working remotely and trying to figure out kind of the new groove. So until next week, keep writing.